Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to this live stream. We'll be talking about Queen Elizabeth's life history, and yesterday we were on part 7 of Queen Elizabeth II's life history, and that was talking about her early reign. So today we are going to be on episode 8, and we're going to be talking about political reforms and crises. So let's go. Oh yes, please don't forget to thumbs up this live stream if you haven't already, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And also on the community tab, you'll find a playlist of Queen Elizabeth II's life history in case you missed out. You can catch up there. So here we are on part 8. So let's go. We're talking about political reforms and crises. So the 1960s and 1970s saw an acceleration in the decolonization of Africa and the Caribbean. More than 20 countries gained independence from Britain as part of a planned transition to self-government in 1965. However, the Rhodesian Prime Minister, Ian Smith, in opposition to moves towards majority rule, unilaterally declared independence while expressing loyalty and devotion to Elizabeth, declaring her Queen of Rhodesia. Although Elizabeth formally dismissed him and the international community applied sanctions against Rhodesia, his regime survived for over a decade. As Britain's ties to its former empire weakened, the British government sought entry to the European community, a goal it achieved in 1973. In 1990, I do apologize. In 1966, the Queen was criticized for waiting 8 days before visiting the village of Aberfan, where a mining disaster claimed the lives of 116 children and 28 adults. Martin Charteris, sorry if I mispronounced that, said that the delay made on his advice was a mistake that she later regretted. Probably she had a good reason why she didn't respond quick as they thought she should have. But let's continue. Elizabeth toured Yugoslavia in October 1972, becoming the first British monarch to visit a communist country. She was received at the airport by President Josip Broz Tito, and a crowd of thousands greeted her in Belgrade or Belgrade. In February 1974, British Prime Minister Edward Heath advised Elizabeth to call a general election in the middle of her tour of the Austronesian Pacific Rim, requiring her to fly back to Britain. The election resulted in a hung parliament. Heath's Conservatives were not the largest party, but could stay in office if they formed a coalition with the Liberals. When discussions on forming coalition, and I do apologize, when discussions on forming a coalition foundered, Heath resigned, and Elizabeth asked the leader of the opposition, Labour's Harold Wilson, to form a government. A year later, at the height of the 1975 Australian constitutional crisis, the Australian Prime Minister, Gough Whitlam, was it Gough Whitlam? Sorry if I mispronounced their names. Gough Whitlam was dismissed from his post by Governor General Sir John Kerr after the opposition-controlled Senate rejected Whitlam's budget proposals. As Whitlam had a majority in the House of Representatives, Speaker Gordon Scholes appealed to Elizabeth to reverse Kerr's decision. She declined, saying she would not interfere in decisions reserved by the Constitution of Australia for the Governor General. This The crisis fueled Australian republicanism. I can't pronounce that. Republicanism? Do apologize. In 1977, Elizabeth marked the Silver Jubilee as her accession. Let me read that again. In 1977, Elizabeth marked the Silver Jubilee of her accession. Parties and events took place throughout the Commonwealth, many coinciding with her associated national and Commonwealth tours. The celebrations reaffirmed Elizabeth's popularity despite virtually coincident negative press coverage of Princess Margaret's separation from her husband, Lord Snowdon. In 1978, Elizabeth endured a state visit to the United Kingdom by Romania's communist leader, Nicolae, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that surname, Nicolae C. and his wife, Eleanor, though privately she thought they had blood on their hands. Oh my gosh, wow. Let's continue. Let's see if it will explain that part to us further. The following year brought two blows: the unmasking of Anthony Blunt, former surveyor of the Queen's pictures, as a communist spy, and the assassination of Lord Mountbatten by the Provisional Irish Republican Army. According to Paul Martin Sir, by the end of the 1970s, Elizabeth was worried the crown had little meaning for Pierre Trudeau. Sorry if I mispronounced that. The Canadian Prime Minister at the time, Tony Benn, said Elizabeth found Pierre rather disappointing. Oh, wow. Imagine that. Let's continue. Pierre's supposed republicanism seemed to be confirmed by his antics, such as sliding down banisters at Buckingham Palace. Wow, really? And all these words I can't pronounce. Pirouetting. Pirouetting? I've never heard of that word. I do apologize. Let's continue. So he was sliding down banisters at Buckingham Palace behind Queen Elizabeth back in 1977. And the removal of various Canadian royal symbols during his term of office. In 1980, Canadian politicians sent to London to discuss the patriation of the Canadian Constitution found Elizabeth better informed than any of the British politicians or bureaucrats. She was particularly interested after the failure of Bill C-90, which would have affected her role as head of state. So we have come to the end of session number 8. So tomorrow we'll continue in with Pearls and Descent. That will be episode number 9. So if you have missed parts 1 to 7, we do have a playlist, and I've put it on the community tab to make it easy for you to find. You can easily catch up in there. And then we'll be continuing with Queen Elizabeth II's life history. Another episode. We'll be back tomorrow. And if you're just joining the live stream, if you could rewind it to the beginning, then you could hear the history of the Queen, and we discussed political reforms and crises. So if you rewind it to the beginning, you'll be able to hear that session, and then also catch up with the playlists with the rest of the Queen Elizabeth II's history. In the playlist, it's got episodes 1 to 7 in there already. So that will make it easier to understand her life history. Do thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. And also subscribe if you haven't. And also like this live stream as well. Thank you so much for your time. So I'll catch you guys around the same time tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you so much. If you're just joining, please could you rewind it to the beginning? And we talked about political reforms and crises in terms of Queen Elizabeth II's life history. And also the playlist is on the community tab, which has got episodes 1 to 7 that will make it easier for you to understand. So thank you so much for joining the live stream. If you can rewind it, then you can listen to the session that you just missed just now. And also you could catch up in the playlist and it's on the community tab. So I do thank you so much for your time and I'll see you the same time tomorrow, hopefully. Thanks again. Please thumbs up this live stream if you haven't already and please subscribe. Thank you so much.